Hey everyone, it's Brandy, and you're watching Abstract Crafter. So today we are doing a post review, such as the title suggests, and this is the one that I named All the Eevees. I guess it's actually known as Eeveelution instead of Evolution. If you don't know anything about Pokemon, this is Eevee right here. And Eevee evolves into all of these guys. And let's see if I can get through the names. This is Flareon, Espeon, so Fire, Psychic, Jolteon, Electric, Leafeon, Grass, Glaceon, don't know, Sylveon, my daughter's favorite, Fairy, I believe, Vaporeon, Water, and my favorite in this picture, this is Umbreon, and Umbreon is a dark Pokemon. So, Eevee can become any one of these based on random different things. So now that we got our Pokemon lesson out of the way, and just so you know, I am fully aware that I say names different than probably that they're actually meant to be said. I have done this everywhere because we don't have a big circle of gaming friends, so we just say them how they sound to us. So alright, let's get into the details. You didn't come here for a Pokemon lesson. I'm trying to kind of move this back and forth. I'm going to put a picture right here. So that is what this was supposed to look like, and I had to insert a picture because mine didn't pick up the detail quite as well. So there's a lot of details that are harder to see based on this picture. So the pro and con list, it's back and forth quite a bit. So, and the one thing that I didn't tell you guys that I was going to start doing when I did this unboxing was I was going to start a rating scale on unboxings, and then so the unboxing would have an initial one score based on 1 to 10, and then post review would have another one, and then we would just average it out. And so if you remember the unboxing, if not, I will link it in the eye. And I was extremely happy. I was ecstatic. Everything was accounted for. Nothing was off. Everything looked really good. And at that time, I probably would have just given it a 9 out of 10 because there were a couple things, like the paper didn't line up, and there was a gap all the way down, straight down the middle, where there was no glue. It didn't seem to affect the canvas overall. The diamonds seemed to stick for the most part in this area. So that would have been the only ding I gave it at that time. And I'll give you the new score on this one at the end. So let's get through this. So I want to start with the beads. So everything was fine. So with the 310s, you can see it needed 327. They gave me 2 bags, which should have been 400. There wasn't that much as far as garbage goes. So let's see. Oh, these pink ones on top here. We'll get to that in a second. But like when you shake through this, let's see if I can make it focus on this. There's not a lot of black in there. So, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I ran out and I actually had to get the final one out of this. I had to take the best of the worst. So let's see if I can get it even closer. Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of black in there, and the ones that are, they're huge holes, and so I just took one that had a smaller hole in it, because with the darker colors, you don't really see the holes as much. But since we're on the beads here, you can see, like right there, you can see how it shines like that. It's concaved. And that was the majority of the issues that we had. And when these are in a tray, they actually stick stand out pretty good. Look at that close up. Nice. Because the light will bounce, whereas like this one, it's flat and it's not bouncing, but a lot of them are holes, you know, like bigger holes on the tops, which the camera's doing a really good job of picking up. And there's a lot of, like, right here, you can see this was burnt, and there's more burnt resin. And so, I mean, it was pretty random, and overall, it's not a ton of garbage considering how, you know, many colors. There's 42 colors in this, and a lot of it I'm trying to find it, because it's mostly in the white. Well, it's not white either, but it is in comparison to the rest of the colors. I'm trying to find, see, yeah, a lot of concave ones. You see how shiny the light bounces because it's scooped out, like this, like a U shape. And of course, because I want to find it, it's not going to show us. Okay, so right there, you can see, like, the plastic bits that are pretty common for everything. Right there is one in the purple, and right there. And so that and the concave ones were our most common problem. And so obviously, that's the kind of trash that you can't use anyway. And then a lot of them, like this one, right? Let's see. Oh, never mind. But they're bubbled outward. So, inward and outward. We had a mix of both. So, that was what we were running into. And I actually thought that this would be a lot more than it ended up being. So, that's not terrible. I can deal with that. Alright, so let's go on to the next thing. It has to still do with the beads. So, since we have this one here, this one was number 3689. These ones were very difficult. They, well, you can see, these were a couple of the garbage ones. That's why they have the holes on them, but that's not why they were difficult. They were difficult because they were stuck together, for the most part. Oop, my finger's peeling right there. Just ignore that. Sorry. They were stuck together. There was actually quite a few that were stuck together, and you couldn't even, like, there was nothing you could do. You couldn't, like, the two-tray squish. You couldn't, like, pry them apart with tweezers. Nothing. They were just, they were unusable. And I actually have, and there was actually quite a bit left over depending on the color. The pinks were the ones that were the biggest problems. I thought they were right on top. There's one of them. Let's see. Oh, here. It is right here. It just has the wrong lid, so it's got Y's lid. Well, this is annoying. I'm sorry. Oh, here. There we go. So I mixed up the lids. This is the right one, but buy a lid. So let's see if it'll. So like those ones, there, I couldn't. I could maybe get a couple of these apart, but they didn't really want to, so they're pretty much useless. I won't be saving those. But there was a lot. There was only a few I thought I was going to run out on, like Q, and this is Y, the letter Y, and H. There's a few, just a few that I thought I was going to run out on, but otherwise, most of them had quite a bit left over. The biggest problem child was the one that was the majority color, and this was a problem child for a few reasons. So, oh, sorry, didn't mean to leave you hanging like that. So you can see this is one of my big cups that we had used for the Diamond Art Club painting. And this, and I was telling you this is 5.5 ounce cup. Let's see if it'll. It's a 5.5 ounce cup, and this is pretty much full. There were 73 bags of this, and so there's still quite a bit left. But the majority of what's left are way too big, so the inconsistencies were aplenty. They were either way too small or way too big. And the other issue I had with this is that there was no white, no true white. This is more of like a pinky peach. I don't know if that'll actually translate into the camera. So yeah, so it's not quite a white, it's more peachy pink, but it appears white in the canvas when matched up to the actual pinks. But there is no white in this, and so this color was used here in Jolteon's fluff, which is actually, so I'm going to trace it out with my finger. It should go like this and be kind of jagged, but it blends right into the background. Same with Sylveon over here. Her entire body is the same color, so she blends in. She just is washed right out, even right up here on her ribbon and her bow there. And then same with Vaporeon here. This was supposed to be like highlights, but it just blends in. Like from where you're at right now, it's not as bad. But then like things like Glaceon just looks like a floating head. It doesn't even look consistent, you know, like with the flowers and stuff. It doesn't look like he's peeking out from the flowers like Leafeon is. So that was one thing I didn't like, and had I been able to do this over, I would have pulled out a lot of these, especially here and on her, and made that white. The other thing is because this was done on a computer program, and I'm going to zoom in for a minute so you can see. I don't mean to always talk about Diamond Art Club, but I'm going to use them as an example here. Because like with Diamond Art Club, how some of theirs, or not some, all of theirs, how they are hand done, so they have the ability to change these kinds of things, whereas they, just about every other store uses a computer program, and so they don't go in and just change if a color is out of sync. And you can see it a little bit here on Umbreon's ear, where these pinks are there. I can feel it. That's the other issue too. We'll get back to that. But we're going to zoom in here on Glaceon. And I felt a bead popping up, which we'll get to that in a second. And so, alright. You can see random purple specks. I think that was the only two spots. Random, it's like a reddish purple specks in just randomly, like for no reason. And even these blue, light blue kind of irritate me. And then we'll scoot Umbreon over, and you can see random pink spots, whereas I think this color right here would have done a better job there. Let's see, what else do we got? So then we got like random little dark spots, which, you know, that's a minor problem in comparison. I think that was pretty much it as far as, like, well, then, like, right here in Vaporeon's head. Like, that spot there. It just doesn't feel like it belongs. Oh, there was one more spot. Alright, let's get right up here. You can see this confetti here. Now, if I bring the picture back in, okay, so you see how in that corner it was, well, there's two issues. One, the corners are supposed to be darker, and this was their way of, you know, remedying that, is all this confetti right there. I'll get in even closer, and you can see some of the other issues I was talking about with spacing and stuff. So, like, that, it just, oh, that's just dirt. There was a lot of that too, but, so yeah, a lot of confetti that's supposed to make it look darker. But as you noticed in that original picture, the background is like a watercolor mix of pink and purple, and it's not necessarily this cream color. I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons for that, and these are just things that I'm pointing out. I'm being hypercritical, even if it doesn't necessarily bother me. I mean, it does a little bit that it's not the watercolor, and it really bothers me that they use the same color for highlights as they did with the background, or for Sylveon here. Oh, my shirt wants to peek in and say hello. Let me tuck that bad boy in. Or like I said, with Jolteon's fluff and Vaporeon's highlights, and even right here, his chest, there's just one little line there. Everywhere else, it doesn't, it will look white. Oh, and the floating head bothers me a little bit. But, no, we did a little bit of that, so let me See, you can start to notice little things here and there or colors, because it's, I think in a bigger size, those little spots wouldn't be as bad. You know, I think they would have made more sense. Or even like this pink spot in Umbreon's eye there. Some of those things don't make sense to me. So I'm going to zoom in again so I can show you like a close-up of some of these spots on the canvas. Because you'll see I'm going to have to put this behind glass like ASAP, because these beads are popping out. So I'm going to kind of pick it up and kind of show you some areas. There, like right there. There's a lot of gapping. So some colors were way too small. More specifically, those ones. So you can see a lot of the gapping. Like right there. And that's mostly in those cream colors. And you'll just see random breaks here and there. And let's see if I can find where the beads are popping out. It's almost in the same area. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. You guys are going to just get mad at me because my camera's not doing what I want it to. Maybe I'll just have to take you down. If I find it, I'll just bring the canvas back up. I mean, I did go through afterwards, and I tried to pop out as many of them as I could that were consistently bad, and replaced them with ones that were smaller. Let's see, like over here now, I've bumped that enough to where I have to replace those now. Luckily, I was prepared, and Faceless Fred is here, just in case that happened, because I had a feeling it might, and I have no idea where it even went. That's just the problem. See, and there's like a big gap right there, or a lot of gapping right in here. And the nice thing about that, though, is that from far away, you're not going to notice things like that. So now that I've kind of said a lot of really bad things, let's talk about the positives. Because there are positives, believe it or not. Let's get that piece in. There we go. See, right there, they're popping out. The positives is I thought with this size that it would be pixelated. But it wasn't. It is a little bit, but not so bad. There's enough leftover colors that if Haley really wants, she can go through and pluck out like she wants to do with the eyes. There was somebody in particular that she didn't think had enough highlight in their eyes. And she wanted to go through, maybe it was this guy. I think it was. And she wanted to go through and add the highlights, you know, take out the ones that she felt weren't doing good and replace. I did have one bag of oily beads, and that one, which just made Haley giggle to no end because they were just stuck all over. 733. 733 was oily. That was the only one, but as you can see, we only needed 37 of them, and it wasn't a big deal. I just used a baby wipe. So, the one thing I didn't notice, and I mentioned it in my drill with me, is that the glue was pinched on quite a few spots, but nothing so bad that it's gonna, you know, make the canvas pinch or anything like that. So overall, the colors are gorgeous. I think the characters stand out. I think they look good. Sorry. One last thing. It looks like this guy only has one eye because he's supposed to be winking, and I think that his little wink could have been just a tad bit darker, but that's the only thing, and that's just personal preference. So back to the good. Once this is hung on the wall, you're not even going to notice all these things that I'm pointing out. So would I still give it a 9 out of 10? No, I wouldn't. And the reasons for that are, A, the beads were horrible to work with. Some of them were horrible to work with. I struggled a lot with the background when it came to just doing the background. B, I don't like that there wasn't white to use in place instead of making the background the same as some of these areas I'm pointing out. Especially here, in here, and where was the other spot? Here. Especially there. And then, see, I don't like the confetti here. It doesn't translate the way it was supposed to. And for those 3 reasons, I cannot keep it at a 9. I would have to give it maybe, I'd say a 6. It's not, I'm not neutral on it. I like it more than I dislike it. I'm more happy with it than unhappy. Putting it, you know, the whole drilling process was not fun at all. but that's okay, because it's done, and I'm not going to remember that once this is gone and put away. Okay, here we go, here we go. I got it. Let's see if it'll stay focused. Can you see? Right there. Oh, come on. Come on. Show the lovely people. You can see it starting to pop out right there. And right there. Put my finger on it. So yeah, I gotta get this thing framed ASAP. I did find a frame at Walmart. We're gonna go with a poster frame. $10 to get this framed. And so this was just under 25 bucks. I think 24 or some 67, I think, was the price. So with the frame, it's a $35 piece of art. And I would say I'm happy with that. The store was a little bit more expensive than, say, had I been able to get this from Huacan or somewhere like that. This probably would have been about $15 at Huacan, but it's okay. Overall, so a 6 and a 9. God, I'm really bad. What's in between that? 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. So, would I recommend buying from the store, or would I buy from the store again based on a 7.5 point rating? I might, if they had the right picture for the right price. Hindsight being 2020, I wouldn't buy this one again at the price that I paid for it. It would have to be less money than what I paid for the quality I received. So, don't think there's anything I left out. When I get to framing this, you guys will definitely be a part of it. It'll probably be the very next one I do, so that these beads don't pop out. And she really wants to get this up on her wall. She's very excited for this. You know, and I might even bump this up to an 8 because she loves it. So, you know what? I think that does count for something. So, yes, an 8. We will give it an 8 out of 10. I'd say 1.5 thumbs up. But, alright, guys. That's all I got to say. I don't think there's really much else to go over. And again, I just want to remind you that if I was not doing this for my channel as a reviewer, I wouldn't be as critical as I am. I feel like it's my job to kind of tear it apart and examine every little bit of it and report that back to you. As a generic consumer, I probably wouldn't be dinging it here and there, and, you know, but these are things that I want to inform you as, to make you informed consumers. So, with that being said, I will let you go, friends. Have an awesome day. Have fun diamond painting. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.